And just take a moment on the mat just to allow yourself a chance to connect with the space, the breath. Allowing the shoulders to relax, maybe the eyes just to soften. And then start to bring the awareness to the breath. Just gently dropping chin to the chest, allowing length through the back of the neck. Bring the gaze all the way back to center, and then take across to your right hand side, just looking gently. All the way back to center and across to the other side. And then we're going to draw a half moon with the nose. So we drop the chin all the way down to the chest as we come through the center line and over to the other side. And gently all the way back again. Back to center. And gently draw the chin down, really deep stretch as we then come into little curved cat here. May even tuck the hands, interlace the fingers and stretch away. Drawing all the way back, bring the hands gently behind you, thumbs facing forwards, open across the chest. Your choice here, you can choose to stay here or you can walk the hips up and open depending on how stretchy you're feeling right at the beginning of practice. Watch the back of the neck, just to keep that integrity of the neck. And then gently release the hips all the way back down. Walk the hands forwards on the mat and come over if you want gently. Draw the body towards the mat if that's comfortable. Breathing into the sides of the body and then walking the hands all the way back towards you. Drawing the shoulders up to the ears and allowing the shoulder blades just to gently come down. We're going to come to all fours, so just moving gently. And with your hands, what I would like you to do, just through this practice, is index fingers face forwards. What I want you to do, I want you to imagine you're corkscrewing your hand half turn. So you're corkscrewing into the mat and pressing the fingers into the mat. So you're away from yourself. So you're corkscrewing index fingers to the front. So you're opening. Okay, so index fingers still face forwards, but what I've done, I've dialed the fingers into the mat. And you should feel a really strong connection with the fingers open. Soften the elbows slightly here for me. And then gently inhale as we come into cow. Exhale, rounding the spine. And just take a little practice back and forwards in your own time, allowing yourself to move the spine, flex the spine. Bending the elbows if you need, not locking the elbows. keeping a wee soft bend. And then either tucking the toes, or you can keep the toes where they are. We're going to come into hovering cat. So pushing into those fingertips and lifting the knees gently with the gaze towards and between the two thumbs. Lifting into hovering cat. Breathing here, inhaling and exhaling. Bring the knees all the way down to the mat and bring the elbows to where the hands are. Walk the knees gently back slightly, coming into a little puppy dog pose. Push forearms into the mat, make sure that the hands are not coming in. And allow the hips to rise up gently, allowing yourself a little height, and allow the chest to move towards the mat. It's a difficult pose for some because shoulders can be tight, so you can hover the chest. And then all the way back up and bring yourself to your hands. Stacked back position. Keep those knees underneath the hip points. And we're just going to take the right arm out and lift open. So lift that wing, and you can even, if you want to, just take the knee off the mat and stretch that side. Even stretch that foot to the edge, the back of the mat, pushing into the heel, lifting up. And then as we turn, we're going to turn towards the mat, bring the knee back down, thread and hover the arm underneath. Hovering the arm as if someone's pulling the hand away from you. And all the way back open. Lift back open, open the leg if you wish to get back of the mat, stretching that side open. You can come to the side of the foot if that's more comfy. And then thread through again, so closing like a wee clamshell, hovering the arm. All the way back to the mat. Stack back position, same on the other side. So as we open, you can extend that leg long to the end of the mat. Nice big stretch through the leg. So it's really like a side plank variation here. All the way through, so we hover back of the arm, so someone's gently pulling the hand away from you. All the way back, opening. And just threading once more, all the way through. Back to tabletop, and we're going to extend the right leg to the back of the mat now. Push through that back heel. Inhaling and exhaling here. And the left leg we're going to turn, so we come to a little kind of gate pose here. So we start to line ourselves up and extend our arm. That's it. So Amanda, just bring that hand forwards a bit.
Have we got more lights on tonight?
I think they might have.
Because it feels very spotty.
Let me just change it for you. I was actually, because it was getting my head held
different.
down to all fours. It's really hot, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry.
No. I didn't switch the lights on tonight, sorry. Go to the other side now. So extend the opposite leg to the back of the mat. And then draw the opposite knee. Is that any better? It's still spotlights, isn't it?
It just doesn't feel the same, but I just...
It's got spotlights on instead of normal lights.
That's normal, yeah. It's more relaxing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what you want.
It's a bit mastermind.
There you are. You're in the dark.
Thank you.
And back all the way to centre, between holding the pose. So just watch, interesting coming from a different angle there. That back arm, make sure it doesn't go too far back in practice. So keeping that direct. Come back to stacked back position here. Move the hands gently forwards, that's so much better. And then step the hips up all the way to down dog. And really walk the feet out in down dog. Taking a moment here. Again, that dialing of the hands, so really corkscrewing the hands into the mat so the fingers are really engaged. And then I want you to think about your shoulder blades. I don't want the shoulder blades coming together and curving in. I want you to push your body forwards towards your hands a little bit. Allow the shoulder blades to move away slightly and then drop into your down dog. And then allow your neck to relax. So you're keeping that integrity across the back, across the thoracic spine. So the shoulder blades are not in, like you would in cow. They're a bit like cat, and it gives you space between the ears and the hands. We're going to anchor the left foot and lift the right foot into tripod. You can stay in tripod or you can stack and just draw yourself into a stacked three-legged dog here. You can stay stacked or you can start to take the knee and draw one big circle with that side. Just your choices depending on how your hips are feeling. Coming back to tripod. Bring the knee all the way into the body and lift all the way up to a little high plank. Back to down dog. Opposite side now, anchor the opposite foot. I've come down to my knees to have a look at you. If you want to come off rest, that's fine. And then up to tripod. Allow yourself to stack that hip open if you wish, keeping that center, so try not to draw weight onto your right hand side there. Keep your weight even between your left hand and your right hand. Drawing a hip circle if you wish. That's grand. Really slowly. So Emma, bring a little weight more into your left shoulder and your left hand. Aha, that's it. That's it, Iona. And then come back to that three-legged dog. Draw the knee all the way into the chest, all the way back out, and then come back to down dog. Take a moment in down dog. Come all the way down to the knees. Draw yourself back into Balasana, either extended, arms folded behind if you wish to just rest the wrists, or take the hands forwards and take a moment just in child's pose, breathing into the sides of the body. Feel the breath 360 from the spine, the sides, the front of the body, the torso. And then as you roll up, bring yourself all the way up to the back of the mat, stretching and arching through the top of the body. Taking the hands to the mat and taking the feet either side, drawing yourself into a little Malasana squat at the back of the mat. And just take a moment here, just working the feet back and forwards. You might not have the heels down to the mat, you might start to have the heels to the mat. And then coming into stillness, really using the back of the arms. That's it, Iona, if you want to bring yours up a little bit, so a little kind of baby squat there, it'll take the pressure off the knees, it will strengthen the thighs. And then everyone draw yourself into a forward fold. Bring the feet underneath you. And we're going to walk the hands all the way to the front of the mat, into plank. Push all the way into down dog, lift up the hips. Then the knees look forward and hop to the front of the mat or step. And then draw yourself, so bend the knees very slightly. Think about engaging the core, push into the feet, lift yourself up, hinging all the way up. Grand. And we're going to follow, so it's really interesting looking at the tripod poses. So when you're in the tripod, our tendency is to come into tripod, and then when we stack, our tendency is to come over, exaggerating. And now I've got lots and lots of weight dumping into that left arm. So when we try and keep the weight and we stack, we're not then opening the hip to push over that left hip. It's trying to keep it even and keep the evenness in the hands. So just be aware of that feeling of balance. I have no idea what I look like as well, so I could be telling you. Grandmother suck eggs, I think is the phrase, isn't it? But just so make sure you feel that even weight in the hands and that you're not dumping into a twist on the side. We're going to flow. So come to the top of the mat. Engage the feet. Maybe take the toes very gently towards each other. Feel the muscles engage. Lovely. Open the arms to the side. Inhale, lift. Turn the palms facing, exhale, dive forwards. Plant the hands and step the left foot back, so we're coming into a runner's lunge. Gaze forwards. Push through that heel, lovely big stretch here. Drop the back knee, low lunge. Sweep the hands, lift out to the hips, up. Keep the shoulders soft. Bring the hands, frame the foot, step to plank. And as you reach plank, push all the way to down dog. We're going to move up and over and then come almost to a plank. And as we do, flick the toes over and up dog. So coming to up dog. Brilliant. Now you can flick toes, Lauren, if you want to, but it's a strong pose. Toes tucked. I haven't got that's it, that's brilliant. Push all the way back, bend the knees, huge amount to lift the hips all the way back up to down dog. Anchor the left foot, lift the right to tripod. Knee all the way through and step back to runner's lunge on the same side. Lower the back knee, lift, low lunge, lift up. All the way back down. Step up to the top of the mat. Fold. Sweep the arms all the way, lifting high. Hands to the heart. Other side. Inhale, lift, upward salute. Dive forwards, exhale. Frame the foot, step to runner's lunge, opposite side. Left foot at the front, sorry, left foot at the front. I'm not mirroring you tonight because I've confused so many people. So it's your left foot. That's it, we started right foot, left foot. If you started the opposite way, Jenny, just go for the opposite way. Back knee down, lift, up into low lunge. Exhale forwards, plank. Inhale as you come into plank. Exhale as you come into down dog. Inhale. Exhale forwards into that plank position, and then inhale into up dog. Lovely. Exhale, bend the knees to allow the hips to come back and up into down dog. Keep the breath moving here. Inhale the left leg into tripod. Exhale it forwards and come up into a little runner's lunge. Well done. Drop the back knee, sweep forwards and up, float the arms up into low lunge. Exhale, bring the hands down, frame the foot, step up to runner's lunge. And then rock really gently back and forward, step up to the top of the mat and bring yourself all the way back up to mountain. Really gradually pushing through the feet, allowing yourself to come back. Now your choice with our next little flow we're going to add on. If you feel that your shoulders want to come out to the side when we lift up into upward salute, that's great. If your shoulders, like mine, prefer you to come forwards and up, that's also fine. So there's just depends on how your body feels at that point in time. So we're just kind of a wee play. So come back to the top of the mat and inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. I'm going to come hands to the heart, bend the knees and allow myself into that lovely forward fold, bend, lift the heels, bring some movement. Plant the hands. You can either step or you can hop to plank. Didn't expect that one. Oh. Floating cobra. So what we're going to do, we're going to keep our heels over our ankles where they are. We're not going to shift forward, but we're going to drop the hips into floating cobra. Gaze is forwards. So it's like an up dog, but not quite. Now you might need to come higher out of this to bring the knee all the way into the body. So kind of into that half high plank. And then draw the heel behind you, keep the knee bent, like a little kind of baby scorpion type pose. Don't know, I haven't really got an name. All the way back into the body, knee into the body. And step forwards into runner's lunge. Drop the back foot, we're going to sweep up to warrior one. Grand. And gently to warrior two, opening to the side. Tucking tailbones gently under. Push through that front leg, so we've got a straight leg, but it's not locked to the joint. Back hand can come into the small of the back, and we're just going to sink into a triangle variation. Take a bind if you wish, and draw that hand into the crease, into the hip crease if you wish. Extend that top arm if you wish. It can stay where it is and you can extend into Trikonasana. Push all the way back up into warrior two position, and as you push back up, sink back into the knee. Turn facing forwards, warrior one. And frame the foot, we're going to vinyasa. Step to plank. Your choice, you can come to chaturanga if you wish, or half chaturanga. And then we're going to come down to the mat. So I'm going to come to bring my knees. I'm going to sink my hips back a little, and I'm going to bring myself into cobra. But if you've got full chaturanga, that's absolutely fine, go for it. Push it all the way back up to plank. Meet in down dog. Choices here. Going to the front of the mat so you can bend the knees, step forwards, or you can hop to the top of the mat and sweep yourself all the way back up to mountain. Lots of big stretches, hands to the heart. Opposite side, which is my left foot forwards now, so I'm confusing Lauren there. Okay, so we're going to work on the left side. Inhale, lift. exhale, fold. Take a moment here. Lots of movement. You can bring literally the belly right down to the thighs. You can bend the knees as much as you want. You can lift the heels, or you can just keep the pose static. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, sink. Leave the left foot at the front and step back into a runner's lunge. And then step back into plank. Make sure you're dialing into those fingers. So look at your fingers. Are the fingers evenly spread apart? Are you pushing into the fingertips? And then we're going to go to floating cobra. So I'm going to drop the hips gently, open the chest forwards. And then the left knee all the way up and into the body. And then draw the heel behind you. There's a little balance here. And then all the way back in. And then step to a little kind of runner's lunge before we drop that back foot and sweep all the way. Push through the feet up to warrior one. Float those arms. And push into your heels. And by pushing into your heels, imagine that you are pushing, also drawing the heels towards each other. And feel the inner thighs engage. Should stop that front knee wobbling a wee bit. Allow yourself to sink if you wish a little into that knee, as long as you can see your toes. And then open to warrior two. That's okay. If you want a wider stance, Lauren, with your feet, so it's about the length of the leg. So you left, oh, you've got a wobbly floor. Bring that top hand down a wee bit. That's it. Okay. And we're going to bring that back hand into the small of the back. Push into that front leg. Keep pushing into that heel, which will stop you locking that front knee. And slide into Trikonasana. We're after a really open shape so that that's it. So bringing that bottom hand, that's nice, Iona, bringing that bottom hand up a little gives you a little bit more of an open shoulder at the top. That's lovely, Sally, Laura. Vicky, bring your hand up just gently a little. Aha, that top shoulder you'll be able to open a little more now. Same, Amanda, for yourself. Jenny, are you comfy there? That's it, you're working. That's fine. Good, Emma. Extend that top arm up if you wish, palm facing forwards. And I want you to push as hard as you can with the soles of the feet and push yourself back up into warrior two. Sweep forwards, warrior one. We're going to vinyasa. Frame the foot, step to plank. And shift forwards if you wish to come down to chaturanga, and then either cobra or up dog. Or maybe unpick chaturanga in a minute. Meet in down dog. And then bring yourself all the way down to the knees and just give your wrists a little bit of TLC. You've been working really hard. Just stretch the wrists out, maybe give them a wee massage. So when we're looking at chaturanga, it's quite a strong pose. It's not everybody's favourite pose. It can be quite hard on the wrists, quite hard on the shoulders. It can go horribly wrong. Lots of yogis injure themselves quite frequently by doing it quite a lot on their Instagram yogi pages and actually get injuries over time. So the dialing the hands and really bringing, so the index, so you start literally like that and you dial your hands on the mat, so the index fingers facing forward. That basically starts to engage the rotator cuff, and that gives you a really nice, firm, solid base. Now what we're doing is we're keeping the hands now engaged towards, so when you're on the mat, I want you to dial the hands. I also want you to think about pushing those hands together, because now my pecs are starting to engage. You can feel it on the mat, so you try that. So first of all, draw your hands so that you know that that's not where they're going to be on the mat, and dial them so we're starting to open across the chest. And now I want you to see if you can engage the pecs by pushing the hands together. So we're not physically pushing them, but we're trying to push the mat together. Okay, so now we've got a really strong, now I want you to resist the movement of the shoulder blades, and they can move towards each other very gently. So I don't want them spreading, I want them actually to move towards each other a little bit. Now you might feel your arms shaking. So you've got a really firm base now, you're working your arms. And then we're going to draw the upper arm bones towards the torso. So what we're going to now do is come into our little chaturanga. So let's all come forwards. You can keep knees down if you know that it's a bit tricky for you. So I'm going to start on sat back position, dial my hands, push my hands together, bring myself into a plank here. Okay? I'm now going to think about those shoulder blades. I'm not going to let them round. I'm actually going to draw my shoulder blades together, so I'm not even letting them dip. Now I'm working my body really, really hard. I want to keep those arms towards the elbows, towards the back of the mat. So you might just be here, that's fine. You might want to knees down, or you might shift forwards. And now I want you to keep the arms pressing towards the back of the mat. And you might just hover. And it might be that you then feel your hips sink, and that's fine. The moment you feel your hips sink, drop your knees down. Okay, so it's a really tough pose. So what you're trying to do, and I know because you're all in a little kind of circle, Jenny's now going to see me face on, which is not helpful, but what you're trying to do is bring your whole body down in a line, so you're not trying to collapse the belly in. As soon as you feel that you're going to go collapse, bring the knees to catch you. So we bring ourselves and then conflict to up dog really nicely. So have a play. It's a really strong pose, so come off your wrists, don't hurt your wrists. Allow yourself.
I feel like everything's just pushing in here, like I'm bending my wrist too much.
So it's Lauren, it's about building strength as well, so just go easy on this pose.
Okay.
So if you've got that in your wrists, for yourself, bring your knees down, feet up. And that allows you less strain. That's it, that was a better position. Now I can see the spiral in your arms, Lauren. Now bring your knees down, lift your feet up, that's it. Lift your feet up. So you're literally, that's it, so you're here.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay, and that will take the weight off the wrists a wee bit. And that allows you to come down. There's a little modification there. Rather than having your whole weight. So what it's doing, oh, you're going to up dog, that's fine. I was just playing around, checking your hips. So what it's doing is, you're needing a lot of core strength for this, and if your core says I've had enough, it's going to put all the weight into your wrists. So what you need to do is you need to take a little bit, so that's it, Lauren, and as you come forwards, sink it right. So what we're doing, the other bit that helps, move the blocks, I feel like I've got stacks of towers around me. So the other thing that helps is shifting our weight over the wrists. Now I'm pushing into my fingers here, and then that allows me to come down. If I'm just about to collapse, knees can come down, feet can flick up, gazes forwards. It's a different pose, but it just allows you to come down to the mat, okay? It's also where the lizard, the snaky thing, helps. So the one that we were doing, so where we come here, and I'm thinking I'm not going to do full chaturanga, but I'm going to come down, I bring the knees, sink the hips slightly back, and scoop myself into cobra. So there's different options to play with, and it's all steps. So chaturanga is It's a fierce pose, but there's ways to get to it. So it's part of vinyasa, a moving flow. Does that help a little bit? I don't want to stop you from the flow tonight, but we're going to come to standing. So we'll come off our wrists for a wee bit. I'll stand on our heads instead. So we're just going to take a moment here. So we're going to take our right foot forwards and step your left foot back and come into a nice big stretch. Draw the arms up and that left hand maybe gently grasp the wrist, and take a stretch through. So just stretch the shoulders out again. Back all the way. Stretch if you wish up. Step back. And again the other side. Right hand, left hand takes the wrist. All the way back into the centre of the mat. And we're going to play just with a wee balance, one of my favourites actually. Might not be your favourite, so sorry. Choose whatever foot you want to play on first, doesn't matter. I'm going to do both sides. And weight the standing leg so that you can release the free leg. We're going to come to a one-legged standing mountain. Choices, you can keep hands to the heart, or as you move that knee up, you can lift the hands all the way up to one-legged standing mountain. Push away into the mat with a standing leg. Another choice, we're going to go into warrior 3 or a variation. So if you know, hands come into airplane arms, sweep them as you move the body. If you know, hands come into the heart, and then lead with the foot at the back while you lower the front body, coming into a standing warrior 3 variation. Play with that foot at the back, flex it. Point the toes down. What's the difference? Pushing through the heel, does that give you a little bit more resistance? If you wobble, it doesn't matter, just play again. And then see if you can challenge yourself by drawing that knee all the way back up, lifting the arms back up into a one-legged mountain pose. And then try that again. See if you can now know where you're going. See if you can concentrate on that flow on that side. You don't have to raise the back leg very high, or you can come into that full pose if you wish. And then come back into that one-legged mountain. Really good, Sally, well done. And then bring the foot all the way down to the mat. So when we come to warrior 3, bringing the foot flexed has a different feeling to pushing through the heel. Now the traditional warrior 3 has the toes dialed towards the mat. You push through the heel, and that gives you a really nice base for the pose, but it's personal preference. So if you want to play with it, that's fine. Now I'm also seeing hands. So if you're in airplane, and again it's personal, I prefer, because I'm engaging my arms here, the palms facing down rather than up. That twists my arms, it feels unnatural, but again, it's what feels good for you, Sally, so it might be the hands come down. The other thing I'm seeing is folks are starting to look at mudras without even knowing it. So Amanda, you're coming into a little earth mudra. It's quite interesting watching. So try it on the other side and think about your hands as well. No. But we do things with our hands to ground ourselves without knowing consciously what we're doing. So, and that's body language, isn't it? That's expression. So you could take any form of mudra and play, and I'm going to kick the radiator and play. So have a go on the other side. So again, bring yourself to that standing position and really come to that place where you're really rooted with the mat. And then weight gently, which allows that hip to free as we come into one-legged mountain. Lifting all the way through. And then start your transition when you're ready, leading with the heel, thinking about the hands. That concentration. Gently soften the shoulder blades, Vicky, that's it. Maybe Laura, just draw the pinkies in towards each other, so you're turning the hand. Aha. You're engaging your shoulder there. And then draw yourself all the way back up. I can feel the air temperature dropping, so. That's lovely, I've slowed you down, but I wanted to get some balance playing. And then bring hands to the heart. We're going to play. That was really lovely, so it's really interesting. So Emma, your hands as well, they look like they're going towards a mudra.
I think.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's also with Warrior 2. So Warrior 2, hands spread, sometimes feels really good. And engaging the pinkies often brings a lot of strength into our arms. But the pose is stronger in its integrity when the fingers are together. So it's also learning about the hands and the hand position. And maybe we're just going to mudras at some point, because I quite like them. So, right, we're going to flow, warm up, and then I'm going to give you a bit of a challenge. Here we go. Right, top of the mat. It was something I was messed about with earlier. Right, I don't know where we're going. We'll be fine. Inhale, lift. Sink into chair, so either hands to the heart or you can keep the hands extended. Hands bring to the heart, revolve. Let's go over to our right hand side. It doesn't matter. Let's just say go over to any side you wish. Inhale all the way back and across to the other side. All the way back to center. We're going to lift a little and then fold. Step the hands, come into plank. Draw all the hips up into down dog. I sound like I'm just about to call the bingo. Think about those shoulders, so don't let the shoulders tuck. Think about strengthening it across the shoulders. And we're going to come into a wave here, so we're going to lift up over that beach ball, come into plank. Lift back up and come into down dog. And just go back and forwards a wee bit, just warming the body up. And from down dog, we're going to come to the forearms. Bring the forearms to the mat. So a gentle dolphin pose here. And maybe bring the right knee into the body. And then come into a little tripod in dolphin. Bring the knee into the body. Come back up into tripod. Come back to dolphin. It's a hard workout. Other side, lift the leg. Bring the knee all the way into the chest. Back up maybe into tripod.
Wow, these are horrible.
And knee into the chest. And bring yourself all the way down to the knees and have a nice big stretch through that lower back. It's a toughie one, Iona.
I didn't like that at all.
That's, you know what, that's fine. Bring yourself all the way back up to down dog. And it's a personal thing. Totally. I know somebody else in the room who hates dolphins too. In fact, I know quite a few folk. But brilliant for the shoulder strength. Just drop the left heel anchor, lift the right into tripod. And then step behind you and draw yourself maybe into the little wild thing. And let's flow. Bring yourself back to the mat. down dog, tripod, and then step across to wild thing on the other side. Brilliant. All the way back, down dog. And we're going to step the right foot forwards now into a kind of a runner's lunge. But now we're going to bring the hands inside. And we're going to come to little lizard. So walk that foot out to the side of the mat. And you might have the space to bring your forearms down. The knee might come down. You might not. That's absolutely fine if you don't. This is where blocks are really handy. I don't use them enough in classes because what you can do is you can bring height into it. Really good if you've got tight hips and you can bring loads of height there. It's great. So I'll just be comfy here. If you've got blocks, use them. And then we're going to bring ourselves back. So we are going to come back to using blocks, Iona. So you just use blocks for the moment. Come back and I'm going to show you something. This is in my way. I'm going to knock it over. So what we're going to do, we're going to play with this lizard and then see if you can get your hand just to the outside of your foot, okay? And from here, we're going to drop the back foot and come into a little side plank variation. So if it hurts opening the shoulder, just again, bring that hand to the hip. If it's too much on the hip and you've got block, you can bring height. That makes it easier. So you don't necessarily have to work to get the shoulder under if you don't want to, okay? So have a play, and if it hurts, stop. All right, so if it's not for you, that's absolutely fine. So, and Iona, if you're not keen on it, use your blocks and have a play with that.
I just couldn't get both forearms down, like the right elbow was up high.
Yeah, so bring the earth up to you.
Okay.
So that's it. So we just gently bring the hand on the outside. So we're stepping into that lizard. Drop the back heel and then allow yourself to come up into. And you're not going to be a perfectly straight because you've tangled yourself at the bottom. But it's a really good strengthen out there. That's brilliant, Iona. That's lovely height. All the way back. And then unravel, bring the knees together as a counter pose and sink the hips back. Okay. Excellent. And we're going to do the same on the other side. If it aggravates anything from the lower back, then just pass. Come all the way forwards again. So if you've got blocks, you're going to come into that little lizard pose. So bring the foot forwards and play with lizard. You can also roll that foot onto its side in lizard, which is quite nice. So you take it to the edge of the mat, and that's more of a hip opener. So Lauren, start with just the foot, just opening the hip at the front. That's it. And maybe coming to the forearms. So bringing the blocks helps here. And we just start to warm that hip up before we tangle ourselves in anything. You can always bring the knee to the mat as well. And then play. So it might be that you bring that hand to the outside of the foot and then step the back foot onto its side, onto the long edge of the foot, and open. Now, this is working a little up to a progression, so then we come all the way back down. So the progression comes into something called a flying lizard, and I can't do it. Can you do it, Emma? You're quite strong.
No, where you put your leg out.
Yes.
No.
No. Anybody do flying lizard in here? Anybody caught any flying lizards? Recently? Okay, so it's a really tricky pose and it's a really difficult pose, but there's no harm in playing with progressions, and this is what I mean. You know, Vicky, we look at crow and you think, how many times have we done crow in the last couple of years? And then suddenly it then clicks. So no harm. So this little kind of play with the side plank here is allowing ourselves to create that movement. So in this little balance, and I'm not going to be able to do it, this foot is going to go under, and I'm going to bring, and I actually did it a little bit earlier, but not much. I'm going to bring my weight forwards and then allow that back leg. So you need to push away from the mat, and I don't want to nosedive for you, and it looks spectacular on camera. So the start, and as I say, we're all at learning points, and I've only just started playing with this. Our start is you can use blocks as well. So you can bring some height, which allows that foot to then lift, and then that allows you to start to lift that back foot up. It's heat, it generates a huge amount of heat, but there's no harm in playing. Because I reckon it's actually more about the tipping point as it is in crow, and that balance point as it is about anything else. So if you start to incorporate and do it on both sides, that little play here with that little side plank, creating heat, is doing no harm, it's opening hips, it's playing. And then just allowing a little bit of weight into the hands, and I'm aware we don't want to do too much more on the wrists. So in a counter pose, we're going to sink back into child's pose. But something to play with, Iona, as well, because that will help you, that spacing in the hips. That's lovely, Sally.
You did something with your foot. No, your foot wasn't like that, was it? Your foot was sort of, yeah.
Just in the balance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the next stage,
Mm-hmm.
the next stage is having height, then that allows your foot to come under and tuck, because then I start to lean forwards, and then I start to bring myself into the balance. So that's where it is, but that's a stage that I haven't got to yet. And to be honest, having injured my ankle in April, I'd rather not injure it again, because I can just imagine that crack. But look, it gives you a play, and if you've got block, wow, so Jenny's strong.
I can't do it.
No,
You can imagine it. Do you know what I mean?
It's blocks.
It's blocks, yeah.
It's blocks
Yeah.
that gives you the height to lift, and then lift forward, and we'll get there. But it's great fun trying, isn't it? And I'll tell you what, if you know we'll go into crow, no we won't, it'll be really easy. So what that is now, Jenny, is now shifting a bend into your elbows, shifting a weight forwards. You need height really.
Height.
That allows you,
Yes, I can
see, but
imagine.
don't go over in your ankle.
Yes, yeah.
The height of the blocks allows that space to lift in the core. And that allows you to then move forwards a wee bit more, which allows the back leg to rise. Anyway, there you are. Easy. It's just science, Laura. It's just science. Oh.
Good bit. Yeah, that thing.
And again, it's about the stacking of the wrist. I didn't want to turn this into a workshop, but it's the stacking of the wrist so that you then come forwards a tiny little bit more.
I was thinking it's kind of like crow, but you've got your leg hooked over.
Yeah,
It's harder than crawl.
it is.
Yeah.
Well, is it? I don't know.
I don't know, yeah, I think so.
It's all relative, isn't it? Look at that. I've never done that in class before, so anyway, I just thought, I was looking at it yesterday and I thought, well, I bet you'd be up for having a go. But let's go standing. Keep an eye on the time, because I could just do a couple of hours for you. We're just going to take mountain. We're just going to take the shoulders just all the way up to the ears, and then just release the shoulders back down. Draw the neck gently towards the body. Bring the hands to the heart. Inhale, and we're going to fold. Forward fold. Gently bring the right hand to the mat. Maybe stretch the left leg and open on the left hand side with the arm. So the right leg is bent and the left leg is a bit longer. Don't lock the knee though. swap. So the left hand comes to the mat, the left leg bends, and open the right, but don't lock the knee. All the way back. And then push all the way into the feet. And do roll up this time. I don't often say it. It's a nice way, just carefully manoeuvring, allowing yourself to come back to mountain, hands either side. Hands to prayer. Step the right foot back, stretch into that right leg, into the heel. All the way back and across to the other side. All the way back to center. And we're going to try eagle, just as a little counter pose for everything we've done. Bend the legs, wrap the right leg, and then the left arm into Garudasana. Use the hands just if you want to at prayer while you're working on the legs. Just throwing that one at Lauren. That's it.
I'm trying to work out how to
That's fine.
tie
So
myself
bring
up.
the hands together. Wrap the left hand underneath. Don't worry about the legs. That's it. And then unravel gently. Bring the hands behind you and stretch the arms out across the back. Even draw up, lift up, big stretch to the body and back to that W. Come to the other side with your eagle. So we'll do arms. So wrapping legs, opposite leg. So left leg over, right arm under. So Lauren, bring your hands together. Right hand goes under. That's it, so we've got feathers. That's it, and it might stay there. Shoulders might allow you to wrap, or they might not. Feathers is fine. Okay. Left leg can now go over, and the little small of the foot just wraps. That's it. Sink and bend into that knee. That's lovely. You okay there, Ariana?
Okay, the wobbles.
That's alright. Unravel. Take the feet as wide as the yoga mat. And either a gentle wide fold, or you can sink using Malasana. I'm going to wide fold just down a wee bit, and I'm going to stretch the legs. And then if you wish, you can sink the hips into a little garland pose, and then come all the way down to the mat, into Dandasana, stick pose. And in stick pose, bring the legs together, bring the toes towards you, tuck the pelvis gently under, and really push into the back of the legs. Hands to the side. If you've got blocks, nice thing to do is either side just draws a little bit of height. Wish I could play this on the piano. And then we're going to come into a little twist. So we're going to take left leg over to the right hand side. Right leg behind, if you can. You can keep that leg stretched if you just want to. Little sage twist. And if you've got your left knee at the front, right arm, lift and wrap towards the knee if you wish. And then turn away. You can stretch in the opposite direction. Depends what you've been doing. You find Jenny, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Depends what you've been doing, depending which way feels. Okay. Maybe we should just have a couple of games of Twister at Christmas.
Left and right.
Gin and Twister, anybody?
Yes.
All the way back to Dandasana. Well, there's definitely, I'm sure, Jin Yoga is a thing. Opposite foot comes across, so that's my right foot, and then my left leg's going to come round. The arm, my left arm's going to come up. You can either wrap towards at first, and then unravel. And again, depending on what you've been doing, depends on how that stretch feels. And then all the way back to the mat. And bring the feet in front of you. And if you want to, you can take just a boat pose, maybe a half boat pose. You might be feeling quite strong today. If you're in boat pose, what's a nice thing to do in full boat pose is to rotate the thighs just gently in slightly and see if you can line up the toes, your vision and your fingers. That's it. Oh, we've got some strong yogas. If not, you can bend your knees and take a moment here. Impressive poses, ladies. Don't stop breathing. All the way back down to the mat. And roll all the way back down. There's always time for a roll down, Vicky. And then just allow here the spine just to lengthen. You can keep the knees bent if you wish. The knees can even come together, feet at the edge of the mat. And just take some deep breaths. And then maybe just bring the knees in line with the hips if they're not already. And bring the knees into the body. And just gently hug the knees. And then maybe you circle the knees, maybe you just rock gently side to side. Maybe you extend one leg long and then draw the opposite knee back in. Maybe you just want to come into reclined butterfly and bring stillness into this. Or you might want to even cross the ankles, take kind of the fingers, the thumb to the sole of the foot. You might even want to just gently rock up and down the spine, but watch your spine if you're on a single yoga mat. It's great fun. You can play and plough if you wish, or you can bring your feet all the way down to the mat. And then we're cooling down quite rapidly. So if you have layers, we're going to come to relaxation. And pop your layers on. If you're quite comfortable, then you can just play in supine twist. And one thing you can do with a blanket that's really nice when you're in Shavasana is you can place it underneath the back. I know you probably want your blanket now for heat, but equally if you bring two to class, you can just allow it just to soften the knees under the back of the legs, which is a nice thing to do. Or you might just want it for a wee bit of heat. And bending the knees as well does similar. So if your lower back's feeling a wee bit tight, bending the knees allows you just to bring some softness to the pose. I've got a random track that is snuck in. Never mind. And just allow yourselves to just draw the shoulder blades underneath the body. Allow the body to feel heavy. Allow the back of the heels to just feel like they're weighted. Backs of the legs. And pause at the hips. And maybe take a big deep breath. Inhale, and on the exhale, push that breath, that energy to the hips. And allow yourself to take that movement all the way up the spine, really feeling that connection with the mat. Allowing the shoulders to feel heavy. The back of the head. And let's bring softness to the front of the body. So softness to the forehead, softness to the eyes, the chin, the jaw, the throat, the chest. And allow the breath to flow, rising and falling. Just take note where the breath is starting. Maybe it's in the belly, the diaphragm, the chest. And then maybe take a big, deep breath. Inhaling, feeling the belly rise, the rib cage expand. And then on the exhale, belly sinking. And another deep, full breath. And then allow the breath just to rise and fall gently. Allowing yourself maybe to feel the air. Sounds beyond the yoga mat. And then gently start to move the fingers. Gently starting to move the toes. And very slowly, when you're ready, move onto your right hand side and just pause. And whenever you're ready, there's no rush. Take a moment and bring yourself back up to seated. maybe bring hands to the heart and just take a breath. Sorry.